Okay, so pretty much everyone has seen the magic of a RAG demo by now. But what actually happens when that demo magic slams into the messy, complicated reality of enterprise search? Well, in this explainer, we're going to tear that demo down to its studs and rebuild it into a system that can actually survive in the real world. Let's get into it.
You know the one I'm talking about, right? If you're anywhere near the AI space, you've definitely seen it. You feed a system a bunch of documents, you ask it a question, and bam! Out comes this perfect, synthesized answer. It really is impressive. Honestly, it feels like straight up magic.
But here's the real question, the one that truly matters. Does that simple, kind of elegant architecture actually survive the battlefield of a real production environment? You know, the kind with millions of documents, thousands of users, and just sky-high expectations for performance and accuracy? And that brings us right to our first section, this huge, gaping abyss between a slick demo and a real production platform. This is where that simple RAG architecture, well, it starts to show its cracks, and it shows them fast. This slide really just lays it all out, doesn't it? A demo, it just uses simple vector search. But a production system, that needs a hybrid approach. A demo just kind of chops up text into chunks, while production demands a really thoughtful, structured schema. And latency, oh man, latency. A demo can take its sweet time waiting for an LLM, but a real system has to snap back with a response in under 100 milliseconds. We're moving from a subjective, yeah, that feels right, to hard, cold, data-driven A/B testing. It's a completely different universe. So where does this simple RAG model just completely fall apart? Well, for one, it's terrible with vague queries. It also can't handle essential things like filtering by date or faceting by category. I mean, just think about the filters on any e-commerce site. They're non-negotiable. The latency is a total wildcard. You can't guarantee you've found every relevant document. And for any real business, things like compliance and being able to explain your results, that's table stakes. So how do we fix this whole mess? The secret, it turns out, is a fundamental shift in how we think about the architecture. A truly robust search system isn't one single process. Nope, it's two totally distinct pipelines working together in harmony. And getting your head around this change, well, that's everything. This breaks down the core idea perfectly. You know, think of it like a restaurant. The offline pipeline, that's the kitchen crew. They spend hours prepping ingredients, getting everything perfect, creating that source of truth. Then you have the online pipeline. That's the front of house stuff. Their only job is to get that perfectly prepped food to the customer's table as fast as humanly possible. You see, you separate the slow, careful work from the fast, real-time delivery. And get this idea is not new. Not at all. It's been battle-tested for decades. Way back in 2004, Google researchers were describing the system that totally revolutionized their search indexing, and they said this exact thing. They made the indexing code simple by hiding all the complex, messy stuff like failure tolerance inside a library. For them, that was MapReduce. This is a time-tested pattern for solving information retrieval at a massive scale. And here's maybe the most overlooked truth in the entire world of search. The quality of your system is almost entirely decided during this offline indexing step. It all happens silently, and the choices you make are often permanent. Every single mistake you make here ends up poisoning every single search query that ever comes after it. Okay, so that's the slow, careful prep work. Let's switch over to the other side, the online query pipeline. A real production system doesn't make some simplistic choice between keyword search or semantic search. No way. It uses both. And that, my friends, is called hybrid search. This lays it out beautifully. Lexical search is all about matching keywords. It's your bedrock. It's fast, it's precise, and it's perfect for finding an exact product code. But semantic search, that's about understanding meaning. It uses vectors to figure out the user's intent, finding things that are conceptually related. That's how a search for durable, waterproof hiking boots actually works, even if those exact words never appear together. And let's be absolutely crystal clear about this. Hybrid search is not a nice-to-have feature. It's the default. It is the industry standard for any search system that actually takes itself seriously. Period. Okay, so we have just built this professional-grade architecture, right? We have separate indexing and query pipelines. We're using hybrid retrieval. So the big question is, where in the world does RAG fit into all of this? And here it is. This is the single most important takeaway from this entire explainer. RAG comes after search. It doesn't replace the search system. RAG is a powerful consumer of a great search system.
It sits on top of all that difficult foundational work. It doesn't do the work itself.
So this is what the full production-ready pipeline actually looks like. First, our robust search platform does its job. It retrieves high-quality, filtered, ranked documents. Only then are the top, most relevant results passed over to the LLM. And finally, the LLM does what it's amazing at. It synthesizes, it explains, it answers based on that rich, relevant context it was just handed, all while holding on to the original sources for citation.
This brings us to our conclusion, where we're going to celebrate something that might sound a little weird at first. The idea that in production systems, boring is actually way, way better. I mean, the benefits of this search-first approach are huge. First off, you pretty much eliminate hallucinations by grounding the LLM in your actual documents. Second, you get full traceability, so you always know exactly where an answer came from. You also get to control what the LLM is even allowed to see in the first place. And finally, you control your costs by stopping all those expensive speculative calls to the API. At the end of the day, when it comes to production systems, boring architectures, the ones that are tested, robust, and solve these huge problems of scale and latency in a predictable way, they're the ones that guarantee the system will just work. Boring means reliable. So let's just close with this one thought. An LLM doesn't decide if an answer is relevant. That decision was made long before in all that careful, foundational work of information retrieval. The true magic of AI, the stuff that wows everybody, it only ever happens when it's built on that solid and, yeah, sometimes boring foundation. Thanks for tuning in.